It's absolutely insane. You're racing across an entire state. The elevation changes are nuts. We start down in the desert, the high desert. It's gonna be 110 degrees. At some point later on in the night, it gets so cold you could be wearing a sweatshirt. This would be like a miniature version of Dakar with everything they throw at you.
The only thing that I have that makes me nervous is just the unknown. You just never know what's gonna happen. These cars, there's so much time and effort that goes into them that can just be torn apart by a 10-cent part. You just never know.
You're in the middle of the desert going 100 plus miles an hour and through, 2-3 foot deep holes, and it beats you up.
If you're not aware of what you're going through and the situations around you, that's when bad things happen. And so you really have to be aware of what's happening on the track, and then you can start concentrating on passing other vehicles and where you're at. But if you're not concentrating on what's in front of you, you can't even worry about racing for the win.
It's 539 miles, so it's an accomplishment to finish something like that, especially with the heat, with the sill beds, with everything we have to deal with.
You hate it. You absolutely hate it being in the car. It's not fun, it's hard, you get beat up, but as soon as you get out of the car, you look back and go, that was the best time of my life. That was the most fun I've ever had.
Welcome everybody to Best in the Desert, America's most badass off-road race that runs all the way from Vegas to Reno, some 550 miles. All the competitors are going to be put through their paces, they're going to be dehydrated, they're going to be battered, they're going to be driving through, look at all that sand. It is 110 degrees here, which reminds me I should probably put on some sunscreen. Oh yeah, oh that's good. Now, let's do this.
The team will be following through the punishing desert time trial that includes trophy trucks all the way down to motorbikes is the Polaris RZR Star Car that's owned by Jim Beaver. He'll be one of the drivers, and joining him in the hot seat will be extreme sports legends Travis Pastrana and Jolene Van Vliet, along with navigator Bryant Shantz.
So we took basically a 2017 XP4 Turbo, phenomenal right from the factory, over 160 horsepower, lots of wheel travel, but then we throw all that away. We add 4 inches longer A-arms on both sides. We put these huge King shocks on here. We've got billet hubs, chromoly spindles, 31-inch general tires. Basically, this car is like a miniature trophy truck. Pretty much it's a stock Polaris RZR engine. It's been sealed from the factory. That's part of what goes into this class. And, so basically all your speed's got to come through suspension and things like that, to beat the other competitors. The whole chassis, you've got the base chassis underneath, but basically from the tubes on the bottom all the way up, it's all chromoly chassis, TIG welded, got carbon fiber interior, carbon fiber impact seats, all these safety upgrades, 5-point harnesses. It's basically a miniature trophy truck.
Would you say that trophy trucks are really cool, but could this be the future, or is that you can't say that in America?
No, I think this is definitely the future. We look at this and they act and handle just like a proper rally car trophy truck. It's just on a smaller scale with a smaller budget, and it's allowed a lot of guys to come in, and the competition is just fierce.
This is so cool because we get to go out there. Polaris has always been, it's so awesome that you can take, not your average Joe, but it's attainable. It's something that everyone come out to the house. All my friends have RZRs and we have so much fun with them. But then this thing is a beast. I haven't driven it yet, so I'll be starting this thing for the first time ever in this and just go like hell. And it's just fun. It's just the ultimate fun machine.
Yeah, awesome. If it was a manual, would you struggle with that, or would you be all right with that? You're American, after all. I've offended American. I'm going to get punched out by the gnarliest guy in motorsport. Should we move on? Let's move on. America! This is America's longest rally race, right?
Yes.
What are the things that you need to remember? Is there special training you need? Do you need to hydrate 3 months in advance? Are you on an IV drip right now? I can't see any drips or anything.
You know as much as I do. So I'll tell you at the end what I should have prepared better for. But right now, I'm keeping hydrated. Got a smile on my face. They're gonna let me in the vehicle. Yeah. I got my helmet. Let's rock. Always have nerves before a race. If you're not nervous, that's, I mean, no point in racing. That's what keeps you safe. But I gotta jump in.
With 550 grueling miles ahead, it was time for the Star Car to take its place on the grid, with Travis and Bryant up first.
So we're now at pit stop 6 in Tonopah. We're around 220 miles into the race. The guys in the Polaris Star Car, Travis and Bryant, they were stopped for a little while. We're not quite sure why, maybe a belt, maybe a puncture, but they're now on the road again and they should be arriving here in around 2 hours.
The cause for the delay was a bearing in the alternator going bad before suffering from overheating issues, something that affected most of the field due to the scorching temperatures in the Nevada desert. Nevertheless, Travis and Bryant made it to pit 6, where Jolene and Jim would take over and try to get the team back up the grid.
Travis, you've just completed about 200 miles. It was a bit of a struggle, wasn't it? You had overheating problems, but now you're here, now you're done, your stint is done. How are you feeling? Talk me through it.
No, I feel awesome now. Honestly, it was as soon as the sun started going down a little bit or got a little cooler in the evening, man, started picking it back up, started passing some people, started getting some air.
Great, man. Sunsets are going down and it's just really cool. You know, it's one thing about off-road racing. It's, you know, we're racing out here, but it's also an adventure. And, you know, you're out and we get to see parts of, you know, Nevada and when we race in Baja down in Mexico that very few people get to see. And you're out there and there's just something really special about being in such a remote spot, you know, where you've got no cell service and no touch with the outside world, and it's pretty fun. It's an awesome experience.
So Travis has just gone out again. I think there was a problem with a CV joint perhaps, so the guys have quickly patched that up. En route, it appears that the bonnet flew off, which is pretty crazy, but we're going to go and chase the race.
With the outside temperatures cooling and a solid driving stint from Jolene, the RZR Star Car was climbing its way back up for what would be a strong finish. And with Travis back behind the wheel, things were looking good for Jim and his team.
It is 10 to 11. We are at pit 11 as well. There are a load of cars that look like they've had a really bad time. Broken axles, cars being worked on, and we're waiting for the Star Car to arrive. I think they're going to be here in about 20 minutes. Currently placed in 19th out of 50th, which is pretty awesome going considering that there was massive overheating issues to begin with. And yeah, maybe make a few more places up.
Oh, that was awesome. Car cooled down. Yeah, first we could
still only go as hard as we try to keep it right around 220. I'm actually shocked it's still going. That's super hot for any motor to run this long, but passed a lot of people, so that was cool.
Jim was about to leave and then the car cut out, and then he went again and then the car cut out again. Car's been pulled back and I don't know, it's not firing very nicely.
Just moments after leaving the team's final pit stop, the car cuts out. And after a quick investigation, the team managed to clear the air temperature sensor that was causing the issue. But then, disaster. With a bad break in the custom cage, Jim makes the difficult decision to call an end to the Polaris RZR Star Car's race.
Jim, sad news, sad times. You've called it, right?
Yeah, we called the race. Not easy to do. You know, I'm a racer, been racing desert races for 20 years, you know, and this track is so brutal, and we're 400 miles in and it's so close, you know, and then we've got damage to the car, and we're looking at the damage we have now versus the damage we're going to have when we continue by the time we get to the finish line, and you know, and things like that. You know, this Polaris RZR was a phenomenal race vehicle. You know, just chewed up this Nevada desert, and you know, just happy to make it 400 miles. A lot of guys that didn't make it this far.
I just want to say, Jim, thank you so much. It's been an
guys for
absolute
coming
pleasure.
out.
Let's hug it out. Good work.
All right.
So there you have it. Although Jim's team didn't quite make it to the end of the race, the Star Car fought hard and was a pleasure to watch in action. Best in the desert, you've been brutal but brilliant.
So at this stage, when you have the snow foam on, basically the car has been stationary for a while and so on, has a lot of moth and other stuff around in the crevices and so on. So you can use a hog brush, which is fairly soft and it doesn't damage your car, and then just go around the crevices before you rinse the snow foam off.